Who is it? What do you want?
Trying to rise, a searing pain and realization enveloped him. Just moments ago, the room had been filled with a blinding light. His head was throbbing. It took great effort to remember what happened. A sharp pain emanated from his hand. Glancing down, he saw it. His fist was clenched around it. Slowly, painfully, he parted his fingers, revealing the key. A bright red imprint of a flower was smashed into his palm. It was nothing like he had ever seen before. Strands of gold and silver, twisted in intricate detail, forming the blade, and blooming at the top, a flower formed to make the bow.
Coming.
Slipping the key into his pocket, Eli crossed the short distance to the door and painfully grasped the handle. On the other side of the door was the tall form of Walter Finley.
Walter? What are you doing here?
Astrid sent me up to get you.
Why? I thought you guys were heading home.
Yeah, last night.
But how? It's not even 5.
5? It's 7 in the morning.
What? How? I don't understand. How could it be 7 in the morning?
I don't know. Maybe it's because of something called time.
The same death-gripping chill washed over him, and he knew Walter's words were true. He didn't know how, but without a doubt in his mind, he knew.
Well, I guess I must have passed out after unpacking.
Maybe so, but anyways, Astrid is waiting downstairs and was wondering if you wanted some company today.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I'll be down shortly.
Fighting through the throbbing headache, Eli changed into a fresh pair of clothes and headed out the door and down the long flight of stairs. Reaching the lobby, a realization struck him. He had forgotten the list of events for today in his room. Looking around for anything familiar, Eli saw Branton still stationed behind his desk with a different book in his hands.
Morning, Eli. Good morning. I forgot my itinerary for today upstairs. Would you happen to have a spare one lying around? Well, yes, I do, actually. Here you are. Thanks. And have a wonderful Founders Day. You too.
Would you hurry up?
Coming.
Taking the paper, Eli rushed to the front door where he found Walter and Astrid.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing this morning?
I'm alright. I woke up with a throbbing headache.
That ought to be fun.
I might have something for that, but I'll have to stop in the Healer's Dealers on our way to the Grand Hall.
The Healer's Dealer?
It's what medical apprentices call the storeroom where we get all of our medical supplies.
Oh, okay.
Have you had a chance to eat?
No, not yet.
Alrighty, I'll swing by and grab my stuff while you get a bite to eat, and then we'll meet up in the center plaza by the statue.
Sounds good to me.
Walt, go with Eli and show him where to get some food.
Fine.
See you in a bit.
With the speed of a hummingbird, Astrid was gone, rushing down the path towards the towering form of the great hall. Walter turned and with a graceful step strolled in the other direction. Though he seemed well-mannered and rather laid back, you could see the muscles ripple with each step, showing a far more powerful being. That would be a frightful thing to come against when angry.
Thanks for showing me around.
Don't mention it.
They headed on down the winding path. Rays of the early morning light found their way in between the student houses. Red and orange dominated the leaves that still clung to the trees lining the path. That same sweet and savory smell filled the air. It was a pleasant morning. Banners, which had not been there the night before, billowed in the early morning breeze. Groups of 2 to 4 students populated the paths, all leading to the hall. Entering, they found it to be packed with hundreds of students. Navigating through the crowd, the 2 boys made it to the food line, where all sorts of cuisine was available. Grabbing all that he could handle, Eli and Walter found a table near the back and ate their food in silence.
Did you hear about the sacking of Raymer Roth?
The what?
Can't believe I'm gonna become a member of the army.
I heard Stan likes you.
It's only the first day.
All so cheerful. Just wait until the real work begins. Then they'll be ready to burn this place to the ground.
Why do you say things like that?
Like what? The truth?
But it's not. Not everything is that horrible.
Tuh, you're just as sappy as the rest of them.
What does that even mean?
Nothing. Just finish up so we can get going.
Throwing down the last few bites, they headed out. Leaving another way, they made their way to the main plaza, which was brimming with life. Students filled the green. Lights and banners hung from every building, statue, and tree. Each guild had its colors raised high, a proclamation of their pride. Every statue, plant, and person radiated a glow of excitement. Across the green, the towering Grand Hall stood with its doors flung open. Its soaring columns and massive dome dominated the landscape. The hall was one of the oldest structures in the city. It was once the site of the great chief's council tent.
There's Astrid.
Pointing out over the crowd, Eli was drawn to the high statue of Joseph Cotton. Crowded around its base, students raised their eyes in respect and awe at the once great man. But Eli couldn't make out Astrid among all the people.
Where? I don't see her.
To the left of the statue.
Scanning the left side of the statue, a flash of flaming red hair caught the sun, drawing his eyes to the place where Astrid was sitting.
Oh, there she is. I see her.
The noise that vibrated through the plaza matched the throbbing in his head. It was a unique pain, different than any headache he'd ever had. The pain felt like it was crawling under his skin in random bursts of energy. It all faded when Eli caught a glimpse of the flaming red hair through the crowd.
There you two are. You sure took your sweet time getting over here.
He takes his sweet time.
I'm sorry. I'm not used to being in a rush.
It's fine. Is your head still aching?
Not as bad as before, but it's still aching a bit.
That's good, but I'd still recommend taking these.
Astrid fished a small vial from her satchel. Inside were tiny petals with a pinkish hue to them, but growing into a dark purple around the stem.
What is this? I've never even seen anything like this before.
I'd be surprised if you had. These are rosé petals. We've only just gotten them in the country. They come from the Narine Isles. We use them as painkillers, so they should help with that headache.
Fascinating. How do you take it?
Just take one of the petals and place it under your tongue where it will dissolve.
Taking the bottle, Eli carefully removed the cork and slipped one petal out. Placing it under his tongue, it started dissolving. A grainy, sweet flavor with just a hint of dirt flooded his mouth, followed by a hint of warmth. Almost instantaneously, the throbbing subsided.
That is so weird.
I know, right? It's amazing what a simple plant can do. Though I don't recommend going around eating flowers.
Why?
There is a surprising amount of flowers that are poisonous.
Oh.
She has repeatedly refused to give me the list of death flowers.
And I wonder why that is. I don't know. Maybe because I would prefer to not have a brother in prison.
Hey, at least you wouldn't have to take care of me.
Oh, no.
The once playful smile that was spread across her face vanished in an instant and was replaced with a scowl of dread.
What is it?
Randall Zevagensky.
Who?
The famous jerk of House Jerkface.
He's been a pain for the last 2 years.
Both siblings' faces were shadowed in dread and disgust. Walter's even more than normal. Swiveling around, Eli instantly knew who they were looking at. A tall, lanky man with long, almost white hair was sauntering through the crowd like he owned the place. The crowd of students parted for him and his two lackeys. A short, ruddy boy walked on his left. To his right was a tall, black-haired boy. A smug look spread across his face that told you he was filled with his own self-importance.
Oh, great. He's headed this way.
Let's move before he gets here.
Grabbing her things, Astrid led them the other way around the statue, but it was too late.
Well, if it isn't Astrid and Walter Finley, back again.
Promise you won't kill anyone?
I'll try. Are you deaf? I was talking to you. No, Randall. We can hear you loud and clear. We're just choosing to ignore you. I'd watch if I were you. You're in enough trouble as is. What kind of trouble? Don't play dumb. You know what kind of trouble.
Randall, my brother is known citywide for getting into trouble. You will have to be more specific.
Oh, my sweet Astrid, I'd stay out of this one. This is no place for a girl.
Then why are you here?
What are you laughing at?
Who? Me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, nothing. Don't mind me.
Who are you anyways?
Oh, I'm Eli.
Well, Eli, if you know what's good for you, you'll stay away from these two. They're nothing but trouble.
And if you know what's good for you, you'll leave me, my brother, and our friend alone.
You think you can just walk away? You have to pay for attacking one of my friends. If those were your friends, I'd recommend getting some new ones. Why's that? They were vulgar and went after my sister. And no one touches my sister.
A spark went off in Randall's eyes. A spark that lit a fuse that led to an idea.
No one?
Eli knew his plan before he even moved. Randall smugly came along Astrid and laid his arm around her shoulder. Walter's restraint snapped. A dam was released. One of rage and utter contempt. As a unit they acted. Astrid slid from under Randall's arm, and in one fluid motion, she planted a kick in his left leg. Walter grasped the falling man and held him high with one hand. Randall's two lackeys were frozen in shock.
No one.
What an impressive show.
So entranced in what was taking place in front of him, Eli had failed to notice the crowd that had started to form, or the slender raven-haired girl who was standing right next to him.
But I would recommend releasing him. Wouldn't want to ruin the professor's day.
As much as I would love to see you wring his neck, she's right, Walter. Let him go.
Everyone waited in anxious anticipation, waiting to see what he would do. It looked like he hadn't heard, but then the grip lessened, then released. Randall fell like a rag doll and crumpled on the ground.
Now there's a good man.
His head snapped around, their eyes locked. It was as if the sun and the fires of hell were competing to see who burned hotter. Breaking the contest with Walter, though in no way forfeiting, this raven black-haired girl locked her eyes on a new target.
Diego, I thought I told you not to hang around Randall.
You did, but last I recalled I had a report to you.
Unfortunately, that's not true. Father told me this morning. If you want to make sure, feel free to ask him.
The pale face of Diego began to burn a bright red. Before he could even move a muscle to argue, she had moved along to the lumped form of Randall.
You were always pathetic. Help the poor fool up, and get lost, the lot of you.
In a flurry of skirt, hair, and a draping black coat, the girl parted the crowd and was gone. Diego and the other boy rushed to their friend's aid. Once on his feet, Randall shook them off.
You better watch yourself, Finley.
Lacking grace and flair, Randall shoved his way through the crowd, trailed by his two lackeys.
Who is that?
Scarlet Defoe.
Wait, Defoe? As in the Lord Professor Defoe?
You would be correct.
That's his daughter?
The one and only.
Does that make that Diego guy her brother?
Younger one, yes. Come on, we should get moving before all the good seats are taken.
The crowd had mostly dispersed, but their going was slow. What few students that were sitting around gathered their things and started on their way towards the hall. A long flight of stairs led up to the mighty entrance. Two statues held aloft the archway leading into the hall. On the left is the great chief Denali, and on the right Joseph Khan, the two leaders who in their own time built up and saved the people of the nation. Passing under the archway, they entered into a large rotunda. Seats filled the whole space, a dais with 6 thrones placed upon it. It was positioned opposing the entrances. 6 pillars, each marked with the guild's crests, rose up to the domed roof, which depicted all the known constellations.
Let's try and get some seats over by the Healers Guild.
Stationed off to the right, a large group could be seen dressed in the customary white robes of the healers. Slipping through the crowd, they made it to a set of seats just as an orchestra began to play. The light began to dim all around the room. A spotlight illuminated the dais as the counselors strolled out onto the stage, all 6 dressed in accordance with their trade. The first to enter was the magnificent Lady of Medicine, Loaisha Zateva, dressed in a long white and gold coat pinned close with 2 hands grasping a red ruby. To her left was the slender figure of Liam Limworth, the master of coin. His expression was one of feigned joy and excitement. Following them is Master Gideon Javar. His discomfort was evident to all, looking like he'd rather be in his smith shop than here. His discomfort was only covered by the presence of the tall, elegant, and strong appearance of General Onira. Her accomplishments and skill were well known by all, and shown by the many medals adorning her uniform. Legend says that she had won her rank just by staring the last general to death. Following in her shadow was Lady Mora Hindaza. Her smile glowed like a lighthouse, giving light to seamen in a storm. The train of counselors was brought up by the strength and confidence and control which the Lord Professor Defoe held over the nation and his fellow counselors. He was, after all, the ruling chancellor and representative of the council. His power and status as head counselor was made clear as the others took their seats and he took to the podium.
Welcome, welcome one and all to Founders Day. I welcome especially all our new students, who have traveled from all over the realm to attend our prestigious university. Now I know we all have a long road ahead of us, as we each take up to the task of pursuing our dreams and goals to become great people that will change the world. And though they are hard tasks, I know each and every one of you can accomplish them with enough power and drive behind you. Now there are 3 pieces of knowledge that I wish to give you, which I hope will guide you along this perilous journey. The first of which is to dream. No dream is far from reach, no goal unattainable. If you push and discover, you will find the path that leads to it. The second is patience, for we must all be patient when the trials come to swat us down, to beat us into the dirt, and to destroy us. But we must be patient and wait, for all things come in good time. And the third and last thing is remembrance. Remember all those who came before you, our great founders, our great leaders, explorers, inventors, warriors and healers, who have helped preserve our glorious nation to this very day, which give us the chance to go beyond the limits and boundaries of their time, to face new and perilous worlds, but to remember all that they did for us. Now I hope this guides you in your long journey to become the next generation of inventors, explorers, healers, farmers, traders, and warriors. But before we partake in this perilous journey, we must celebrate, for it is Founders' Day, the day that we were blessed and given this glorious land. So I welcome one and all to join us in our annual Founders' Day Games.
The room erupted as students and professors alike headed out of the hall. Heading out, the crowd swung to the right and headed for the large arena that rose from the ground to the left of the hall.
All participating in the Founders Game, please take the stairs to the left.
Are you taking part in the games?
Yeah, I think I will. Are you going to participate?
That's not my kind of thing, but I'll be cheering for you.
Thanks. Are you participating in the games, Walter?
Yeah, it's the one sanctioned event that I get to beat the crud out of people.
I thought it was like dodgeball.
It's more like a war zone than that.
Oh.
It's not that bad. You'll do fine.
Alright then. We should get going.
Hey, if you see Randall or any of those other guys, beat the crap out of them.
Oh, we will.
The excitement in his eyes was terrifying. No one should get that excited to beat people. But waving goodbye, the 2 boys headed down the stairs.
Girls to the right, boys to the left. Take your uniforms and get changed and report back to the field.
Following the crowd, they grabbed their assigned uniforms and headed into the changing room. The uniforms were packaged in brown paper with name tags and a family crest. Eli pulled the paper away to reveal a silver uniform with a green stripe running down the front. As he slipped into the shirt, it began to form to him, becoming skin-tight yet still flexible. Turning around, the well-muscled form of Walter stood looking less than impressed. In his new attire, even more of his muscles could be seen, adding to his intimidating figure.
What?
Nothing. You just look small.
Well, not all of us are as jacked as you are.
True.
Well, if it isn't the twig and the giant.
Well, if it isn't the father's pet.
I was going to say disappointment, but that works.
I'd watch it if I were you.
And I'd go the other way if you know what's good for you.
You should be careful. Accidents happen all the time in this game.
A chill vibrated through Eli. An itching, crawling feeling ran over him. He could tell Diego was up to something, and it wasn't good.
We should get going and try and find our other teammates.
Agreed. Also, don't pay attention to him. He thinks he's scary, but he couldn't hurt a cat.
Making their way to the green, the roar of the crowd rung in their ears. In the field, they found pillars, walls, and dugout. In the center, a hill rose out from the ground with a temple-like structure situated on top. The Founders' Day game was a simple one. A group of 25 teams fight their way to the top of the hill to claim the Blessed Star, using special orbs that can stun a person, rendering them immobile. The battle-like structure is meant to symbolize the struggle and fight of the nation. 25 circles were placed along the walls, finding their way around till they came across the green circle that matched their uniforms. They found a large cauldron filled with green orbs.
So, how many games have you played?
2. Last year and this one.
Did you win?
No. Grab one of those bags and fill it with as many orbs as you can.
Hey!
Startled, the 2 swung around and were staring at a short, stocky girl with brown ringlets cascading down her head. 2 beady, emerald green eyes stared back at them.
Oh, good heavens!
Are you guys green?
Yeah, we're green.
How did you do that?
What?
Sneak up on us?
Oh, sorry. I have a bad habit of that.
No worries. I'm Eli. This is Walter.
I'm Jess. Nice to meet both of you.
It's nice to meet you too.
I'm so excited to be here. I mean, isn't this place, like, amazing?
It really is quite something.
I've seen cooler.
Like where?
You wouldn't know it.
Sure.
Anyways, here, take this bag and start loading up.
Sure thing. So, is this your guys' first year?
Yes, this is my first year.
This is my second.
Looking over, Eli spotted a red-headed boy heading their way.
Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. What's your name?
I'm Sebastian.
I'm Jess. It's a pleasure to meet you.
And you?
This is Eli, and that is Walter.
Walter? Are you Walter Finley?
The one and only.
I'm a huge fan of your work.
My work?
Whatever Sebastian was going to say next was cut off by the roaring cheers of the crowd, as Defoe took to the podium once again to start the games.
Welcome again to the 150th Annual Founders Day Games! A game meant to remind us all of the perils that our ancestors faced. From the Great Wandering to Civil War and to the struggles of rebuilding, all of which were guided by the Blessed Star. The rules are simple. Play fair and always remember where we came from. Let the games begin!
So it begins.
The excitement and tension grew as the horn counted down. The field sprang to life as each team made a dash for the center. The air became filled with colored orbs.
Duck!
Sebastian slammed Jess to the ground, taking a hit straight to the chest. Going limp, Sebastian crumpled to the ground.
Oh my gosh!
Eli, get them up. We need to move.
Rushing over, Eli pulled Jess to her feet.
Start looking for a way forward. We'll keep you covered.
Grasping the limp form of Sebastian and dragging him to cover, Eli was able to get a good look at their surroundings. Two teams were to their left and a third to the right. Peeking over the wall, Eli could make out several teams who were much closer to the main hill. Other teams were stuck in stalemates fighting one another. A slow, itchy, crawling feeling washed over him.
Walter, look out!
Flying to the dirt, the orb missed Walter by inches. Acting in an instant, Eli swiveled and launched an orb which found its mark.
Nice throw!
Thanks.
Did you see a way we can go?
Yes, but we'll have to move quickly.
What about Sebastian?
I can move again.
Alright, Eli, you lead. The rest of you, throw an orb at anything that moves.
Got it.
On your mark.
Alright, now!
Flying over the wall, Eli fell into a dead sprint. Somehow he knew every turn to take and the exact moment to hit the dirt. He didn't know how. It was more instinct than anything else. Out of the corner of his eye, Eli spotted a dark red orb flying straight at Jess, striking her in the upper arm. She instantly fell into the ground. Whipping around, Eli released two orbs that ricocheted off pillars and walls, striking the heads of two enemies just before they could dive for cover.
That was amazing!
Eli had no time to reply. Energy coursed through his veins. The world around them seemed slow. All he could see were two orbs headed straight at him. Nothing else existed to him. Nothing else mattered. He needed to dodge them. But how? The distances between them were closing fast. Every move, every outcome flashed past him. All but one failed. The world swirled back into focus, twisting his body to the right. The first orb whizzed past. He let his feet slip from under him as the second ball whizzed past. Walter sent two orbs flying back in response.
How did you do that?
I don't know. Is Jess okay?
I can't feel anything!
It's okay. It will wear off in a few seconds.
We can't stay here. We're taking too much fire. Go for the cover on the left.
Walter's head swiveled back and forth till his eyes locked on a small three-walled space. His eyes snapped to Eli, who was still lying prone on the ground.
Alright, let's move.
Sebastian and Walter linked their arms under Jess and hefted her to her feet. Eli led the way as they dragged her to cover. They were mere feet away from the walls when the corner of Eli's vision was filled with blue. Sebastian went down, dragging the rest of them with him. A whirl of blue passed through the air, bombarding the whole area. Standing up, Walter lifted Jess over his shoulder and gripped Sebastian by the collar. He walked the last few feet with relative ease. Once behind the wall, Walter lowered Jess to the ground and propped Sebastian against the wall.
We'll never make it in time like this. We're taking too much fire. And look, there's already 5 teams around the hill.
He was right. 5 teams were camped all around the hill. In a constant firefight, they were clawing their way to the top. Among these teams, Eli could make out the form of Diego in a dark red uniform.
Oh, great. Diego's already up there.
There is no way. We can't win.
She's right. It's too long of a distance and there are too many teams nearby.
Eli's skin crawled as he heard the voice.
Another way.
The same death-gripping chill wrapped around him, and he saw it.
What about the tunnel?
What tunnel?
This one.
Slipping his hand through a small crack in the wall, he felt a small switch. Flicking it, the floor gave way beneath them. Landing in a mess of limbs and bodies, Eli lay in shock at what had just happened.
A little help here.
Gaining their feet again,
Walter turned on Eli.
Okay, this is getting freaky. How do you keep doing this?
Doesn't matter. We have a free way towards the star.
He's right.
Looking ahead, they could see that Sebastian was right. There was a long tunnel.
leading in the direction of the hill.
Fine, let's go.
Their going was tentative at first, but their confidence grew as a light at the end of the tunnel came closer.
Reaching the end, their pace slowed.
Walter crept to the edge and looked out.
You gotta be joking.
What?
The star's just outside.
Well, let's get out there then.
Wait, we can't just go rushing out there. We need to be careful.
What should we do?
One of us needs to go for the star while the others cover him.
I can go.
Alright, on 3. 1, 2, 3, go!
Surging forward into the orb-filled air, their sudden appearances left the other teams in shock. Recovering quickly, the team started throwing orbs. Sebastian was stuck in the head, sending him spiraling to the ground. Walter returned fire with such ferocity it left an opening for Eli. Giving it everything he had, he sprinted forwards. Legs pumping, he crossed a short distance in a flash. Orbs filled the air, missing him by inches. Diving, he reached out and grasped the star. Lightning coursed through his veins, a searing, coursing pain. Everything went still. The world crumbled into a white nothingness. There was nothing. No star, no arena, no people. It was just him and his thoughts, alone in a void of endless white. The white began to drip away. He was no longer in the arena. Everything was covered in shades of black. It was damp, and the chill found its way under his skin, biting into his heart. That voice, he knew it. Its warmth, its love, the shadows rolled back, filling the cave with light. Gashes and cracks ran along the walls. A cracked handle lay thrown to the side. Light flooded out from a stone door embedded into the far wall. Rushing forwards without concern, he ran through the door. Fear and panic stopped him dead in his tracks. Blood covered the floor. The pungent smell of gun smoke was thick in the air. 2 bodies holding each other in their arms lay dying in the pool of blood. The lightning shot through his veins once more, and the room was ripped to shreds. The arena returned to surround him. The star clutched in his hands.
Mom? Dad?